My name is Mark, and I'm here to talk about finding your way around the fingerboard and learning where the notes are, what the notes are, how to find them in the most effective way that you can. If you already play and you're having trouble learning where the notes are, and you've tried a couple of different methods and they don't stick, I have a method that I think you can benefit from. You may have come across this method. This is not the method I'm going to use, but I just want to kind of overview a common approach, which is to take each string and memorize all the notes on that string. And you may have come across memorizing every single note on the string: E, F, F sharp, G flat, G, G sharp, A flat, A sharp, B flat. That is a lot to take in. I don't recommend doing it that way because it's like trying to learn a language by memorizing the dictionary. We need to focus on things that are relevant at the moment that we need them. And just like the piano keyboard, there's a piano back there, there it is. You may notice that the piano keyboard is divided into two different types of keys. There's the white keys and the black keys. The white keys on the piano keyboard represent natural tones. Those are the notes that are not sharp or flat. The black keys on the piano keyboard represent all the sharps and flats. And we don't have that obvious distinction being made on the guitar fingerboard, but that's a really important aspect of music. And we want to identify those natural tones first because that simplifies things a lot. We only have to deal with alphabet letters. We don't have to worry about sharps and flats. And that's really why the piano is arranged that way, is designed that way. So if we just take the natural tones on the guitar and say you start on one string, we'll start on the low E string. We go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Well, in order to do that, you have to know that some consecutive alphabet letter sequences are whole steps and some are half steps. Half step is, say, when you go from the open strings to the first fret, there's nothing in between. That's a half step. If we go from the first fret to the third fret, that's a whole step. So that's E, F, G. We're going from the open string E to F, half step, F to G, whole step, G to A, whole step, A to B, whole step, B to C, that's a half step, C to D is a whole step, D to E is a whole step, E to F is a half step again. You can do that on every string, and you will learn the names of the notes on each string. If you do it enough and you memorize all those notes, you may find your way to learning the names of the notes on each string. The key here is knowing that it's a half step between B and C, and it's a half step between E and F. You just have 7 letters of the alphabet. You just run through those letters and you make sure that you play a whole step between every single alphabet letter except when you go from B to C or C to B, depending on which direction you go, or from E to F or F to E. It's the distance between those two alphabet letters that determines whether you have a whole step or a half step. Now, doing that and going up and down the fingerboard one string at a time will get you partway there. But if you rely on starting at the open strings and moving across from the open strings all the way up, or from, well, the 12th fret back down, you can start on E on the 12th fret, or A. Let's say we start on A on the 12th fret. Well, what comes before A? G. What comes before G? F. We know A to G or G to A is a whole step because it's not B, C, E, or F. We know from G, let's see, G and then F. G to F, that's a whole step because it's not E, F. Just because there's an F doesn't mean it's a half step, right? We go F, E, that's a half step. From E down to D, that's a whole step. From D down to C, that's a whole step. C to B is a half step. That's another way to do it. We could start on the 12th fret rather. We could start on the open strings, go up and down, but that's not the method that I like to recommend. The method I like to recommend first, because yes, we can do all that by all means, but also do this, and I think this is where you want to go first. The open strings are natural tones. Every single one of them is a natural tone. The names of the open strings: E, A, D, G, B, E. E, A, D, G, B, E. Those notes follow an interval sequence of their own. Not whole steps and half steps, but the number 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. What do I mean by that? 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. That's the formula. What that means is that you count 4 note names or 4 alphabet letters starting from E to A. E, F, G, A. That's 4 musical steps. E, F, G, A. That's what we call a fourth. A, B, C, D. Another fourth. We go from the A string to the D string. A, B, C, D. Fourth. D string to the G string. D, E, F, G. Fourth. Fourth from the E to the A. 4 from the A to the D. 4 from D to G. 4, 4, 4. When we go from the G string to the B string, that is a third. G, A, B. 1, 2, 3. G, A, B is a third. So we have a third between those two strings. When we go from the B string to the high E, B, C, D, E, that's a fourth. So 4, 4, 4, 3, 4 is the formula for finding your way alphabetically across all 6 strings, from the lowest pitch string to the highest pitch string. That formula applies on every fret position, but we only care about the fret positions where there are nothing but natural tones. The open strings, nothing but natural tones. The first fret has some sharps and flats on it. The second fret has a couple of sharps and flats also and some natural tones. The third fret has sharps and flats and natural tones, about equally divided. The fourth fret has only 1 natural tone and 5 sharps and flats. We don't care. What we care about is where only natural tones are, a fret position where there is nothing but natural tones. We have the open strings and we have the 5th fret next. The 5th fret is A, D, G, C, E, A. No sharps, no flats, just natural tones. Memorize it. A, D, G, C, E, A. How do you make sure you know it? You know that that note is an A, and you count 4, A, B, C, D, 4, D, E, F, G, 4, G, A, B, C, 3, C, D, E, 4, E, F, G, A, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. Make it into a mantra. 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. There is another axis. I like to call these positions axis positions. The open strings are an axis. The 5th fret is an axis. And the 10th fret is an axis. So if we start on the lowest note on the 10th fret, it's a D. We go up a fourth. D, E, F, G. Another fourth. G, A, B, C. Another fourth. C, D, E, F. Now we are going to have a third. F, G, A. And then a fourth again. A, B, C, D. 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. D, E, F, G. G, A, B, C. C, D, E, F. F, G, A. A, B, C, D. D, G, C, F, A, D. Memorize that. D, G, C, F, A, D. The 10th fret. The 10th fret is an axis. The open strings are an axis. The 5th fret is an axis. Now we have 3 reference points, 3 landmarks on the fingerboard where we know there is nothing but natural tones. And only on those fret positions do we have nothing but natural tones. We do have another axis on the 12th fret. And on the 12th fret, we repeat the notes of the open strings. So I consider that the same axis again. The 12th fret is a repetition of the notes of the open strings. If you know the open strings, you know the notes on the 12th fret. They are an octave higher. We're not going to concern ourselves with the 12th fret and what's going on above the 12th fret because, once again, it is a repetition of what happens starting with the open strings. So it's the same thing again. So if we learn what's going on from the open strings to the 5th fret, and then from the 5th fret to the 10th fret, then you have reference points where you do not have to go all the way back to the open strings every time you want to figure out where one of the notes are on the fingerboard, say high up here. I'll leave you with one more element in this process. once you've memorized the notes on the axis positions, E, A, D, G, B, E, A, D, G, C, E, A, D, G, C, F, A, D, open strings 5th fret, 10th fret, you have only 2 additional notes on each string in between each axis. Okay, so let me illustrate. Say we start with A on the 5th fret of the low E string. And we are going to go from the A to the D, the axis 5th fret A, 10th fret D. Well, A, B, C is the only thing left, right? In between A and D is B, C. Whole step from A to B, half step from B to C, whole step from C to D. So now we know that B and C are halfway between those 2 axis points. The same thing will happen if we start on the 5th string on the 5th fret. That note is D. We went from A to D, A, B, C, D, 4. Now we have 2 notes that are going to fall in between this D on the 5th fret and G on the 10th fret. Remember, count. D, E, F, G. Well, this is D also. D, E, F, G. We have 4 steps, a 4th between each axis. The axes, the open strings, are a 4th away from the 5th fret axis. The 5th fret axis is a 4th away from the 10th fret axis. We have 4, 4, 4, 3, 4 going across from one string to the next, and we have a 4th from the open strings to the 5th fret and a 4th from the 5th fret to the 10th fret. So that number 4 keeps coming up over and over again on the guitar, and it's an essential interval in the way music is structured. So you want to get used to thinking that way. You want to get used to understanding what this idea of the 4th is. And I want to add to that in future videos, but I think for now, I'm going to leave it at that. Memorize the open position, memorize the notes of the 5th fret, memorize the notes of the 10th fret. Use those positions to find the 2 remaining notes in between each axis on each string. That way you're moving around the fingerboard, not all the way up and down on each string, but you're finding areas where you can get familiar with the arrangement of notes in that hand position. Because that's how you actually are going to end up playing. That's how you play the guitar. You don't play the guitar by going all the way up and down each string. Memorizing the notes that way, while you can do that, you should be able to do that, but I think there's a better way to apply your awareness of the fingerboard to a more efficient method, and that is these axis positions. So rather than going into too much detail right now and giving you too much to think about, let's just stop there, and I'm going to pick this up again in a future video, and I hope this helps. Let me know what you think. Thank you.